Hi, Laura. We've come today to talk about 5G masts, and in particular I want to ask you some questions with regard to a local 5G mast that's been erected in Clydebank. We met with the planning official because the local community council didn't get any information about it. They haven't consulted upon it, and during the meeting he explained how he made the decision to approve it based on international standards, etc. And I asked him various questions that he never really answered. So you've recently been involved in stopping a 5G mast being erected. So can you give us an explanation of how you went about that?
That's right, and also fibre optics. And this is the problem, Tam. There is no public consultation. There is no health impact analysis, and there is no environmental impact analysis. And as I was just recently saying to you there, I did tell you previously, it is harder to get the towers down. The MIMO tanks, which stands for massive input, massive output, it's difficult to get them down once they're erected. Yeah. But we're getting, people say, it's a waste of time going to court, it's a waste of time going to court. Well, it's no. The judicial system's there for a reason, and they've got to be seen to do some form of justice. Right. Now, we had a recent procedure. I just found out about this over the weekend, so I've got it here in front of me. Now, it was the Brighton and Hove High Court Queen's Bench Division for planning permissions, and this is the problem. They haven't had any planning permission, they've not put in for any. They've superseded all guidelines, rules, regulations, and they're just going ahead and steamrolling them, this illegal technology onto civilian streets where it does not belong. So they removed the mast. It was ordered to be removed by the High Court Queen's Bench Division for planning, due to the fact that no environmental impact analysis was done. So what people need to start doing is putting an FOI request into their city council. Has an environmental impact analysis been done for this equipment? You'll get, I think it's 14 days, maybe 28 max, you'll get a reply.
Could I just ask you, who would carry out an environmental impact?
Well, the council would, that's down to them. All you need to do is make sure that they've carried that out. So you're just asking, have you carried out the environmental impact analysis?
And if they haven't, that would be grounds.
And if they haven't, you can let them know about the recent legal proceedings in Brighton and Hove.
Brighton?
Okay. In order that mast be taken down.
Right.
But you need to put that pre-claim in first to give them the chance to say, yes, we have it, or no, we don't.
Right.
And the likelihood is that they won't have it. But put that FOI into your city council, get your response back and take it from there. Right. You'll see a lot of the masts that are erected. See, the government made it unacceptable, let's say, to fight them under biological grounds, right? Where it does to the human body. But they'll consider environmental factors, and they'll also consider environmental factors, and they'll consider things like topography, so like the dimensions of the MIMO tank, just the simple fact that it's an eyesore, or that it could blow over in heavy winds, things like that. Right. They take all these things into consideration, but they will not take into consideration the biological effects on humans, which is absolutely absurd. But the amount of studies we've got on the environmental impact of this radiation is damning at best, is damning. I mean, we're seeing huge decline in all small pollinators, huge decline. We've got the studies to back that up.
Mm-hmm. So, the fact that there's a lot of knowledge about how this technology affects the human body, I take it that...
Well, I'll tell you how much knowledge there is,
as an example, in the United Kingdom, I would take it that the Scottish Parliament and the English Parliament and the politicians that are there are fully aware of the damage.
Yes, they're aware. They've all been made aware.
They've been made aware.
Yes, they've been made aware.
So, in spite of that fact, they continue to roll out these masts.
They are, Tam, and that goes back to a meeting that took place at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in 1997. This is a globalist agenda. As you know, it's global. It's not just the UK. It's not just Glasgow. It's global. It's a global deployment, and it's a genocide agenda. And that might be hard for a lot of people to digest, but that's the facts of the matter.
So
at their summit in Rio de Janeiro.
The fact of the matter is that every politician in government has got the full knowledge that this technology damages
We
people.
can't say that every single politician has, but
Well, most of them.
most of them have. Most
So
of
they're
them
in
have this
agreement
knowledge.
with damaging people.
That's correct. That's correct. They're complicit. Yes, that's right. They're complicit in this crime against humanity. That's right. And as I say, at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, where all your globalists met up to sign up to what's known as Agenda 21, Agenda 30. This took place way back in 1997, and it was to design top-down control for the very top, right down to your city council level, to implement this green energy lie. This, you know, we're the problem, CO2. CO2 is 0.04 in air. It's a trace gas. And I've got one word for any climate activist: photosynthesis. It's a big lie, and it's sort of bring about this, you know, your smart devices and your new LED street lights to pretend it's energy saving. Well, I can prove it's quite the opposite. In fact, it's a weapon.
So, Jenny, you think these people then look upon the population in general as irritation?
Well, they call us useless eaters, Tam. That's what we're known as.
Useless eaters.
Useless eaters. That's what they refer to us as, useless eaters. We're too slow, you know. We don't serve any purpose here. We're actually worth more dead.
So when they talk about reducing the population, I've heard that Bill Gates wants to reduce the population by
that's
about
correct.
7 billion.
That's right.
But how would they...
How would they implement that? Is that what
Would
you're
they want
asking?
to do it over a long period, or would they like to... How are they going to depopulate unless they kill people?
Well, that's the idea of depopulating people, killing everybody. But as I say, I'm going back to the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, where they signed up to the UN Resilient City Agenda, is what it's called. United Nations Resilient City Agenda. Well, all city councils, as I say, from top down to the bottom, right down to your city council level, they all agreed to this. And how they're going to go about it is, well, A1, you give somebody a vaccine for nanometal particulates, right? I fill you with metal, and then I fill the environment with microwave radiation. I'm going to clog your blood, I'm going to kill you. In fact, if I fire 18 gigahertz at you, I'm going to open up the red blood cell and absorb all that metal inside that vaccine, and you won't be long in keeling over.
And for ordinary people in general, they take this in, it's obviously, they aren't being informed, or they aren't taking on just how serious the matter is.
No, and that's a problem, because it is a lot to digest. I mean, I've had years and years and years to digest this, and been mentored by the best, the UK's leading military weapons expert, Mark Steele. So I know firsthand, and he's actually looked at the ingredients of this vaccine under a spectrometer. So we know what's in there, we know how many metals are in there, and we know how dangerous it is combined with microwave radiation.
The problem with that is I've seen a lot of information about the ingredients of the vaccine and what they're causing, but you never read it in any of the mainstream media.
No, you don't.
Anywhere.
No, you
So
don't.
it's
But then that's all by design, Tam. I mean, why would they? I mean, they're making money out of it, you know. It's in their best interest that you don't hear about it. That's why I think it's so important for people like myself to get the information out there.
So in general terms, if you look in and you catch up and you look for the information, it's as if governments and politicians and the scientific community are in a kind of war with the people.
That's correct. That's right. That's exactly what's happened. Because this is a multifaceted agenda, and it's coming from all different angles. I mean, I could go into the history of 5G and it would blow a lot of people's minds wide open, I would imagine. But it dates back to 1940s Nazi Germany, where you had people like Joseph Goebbels, Hermann Pichon, Joseph Mengele, who were researching vaccines and radiation. So, I mean, that was the Third Reich. Well, they never ended. It never stopped. What happened was, during Operation Paperclip, 18,000 Nazi scientists were taken under Operation Paperclip to America, where they landed in Silicon Valley and made their tech. So who did they mass distribute the tech to? The cheapest place, China.
I've actually read that, and I've also read about Unit 731 in Japan, which took place in 1939 or so, where they carried out various experiments there.
That's right.
And did post-mortems on live people following it.
That's right.
And everybody that was in charge of Unit 731 was taken to America. The scientists and the doctors involved and worked there as well.
That's right.
So I sometimes think we presently in the world, this is Unit 732 that we're living in
That's
at
right.
the minute.
That's right. That's a good analogy. And the Nazi German scientist I'm speaking about, Hermann P. Schwann, he was the one who initially set the radiation exposure limit away back in 1950.
And that's what they use today.
And that's what they're relying on today. Then you've got your criminal cartel, the ICE and IRP, who say you can be exposed to 6 minutes and 6 minutes only, right? And they also state in the legal get-out clause that this is guidelines only, and must not be relied upon. So we've got governments and city councils relying on these guidelines that are not to be relied on, right? However, the 1815 resolution, right, Council of Europe 1815 resolution states that we can be exposed, now this is international, to no more than 200 millivolts per square metre, right? Now I can go out there and take readings at 18,000 millivolts per square metre. And that's inside homes, inside living rooms and inside bedrooms, because this is radar. This is urban radar. And it's operating in the sub-gigahertz spectrum, which means it can travel through brickwork with ease. And you can pick it up, with a tri-field meter. The millimetre waves, you'll never be able to pick up the millimetre waves.
So governments are enabling these technology companies to put these masts up, basically kill people.
That's correct. That's correct.
Hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. Luckily, I've got the proof, I've got the evidence, and I've got the expert witnesses to back it up.
And when we elect people...
I mean, I could get really technical, but I wouldn't want to confuse
When we
people.
elect people to represent us, at the minute, it looks as if they don't.
They never have. I mean, look, we entrusted our national security a Nazi German scientist in the 1950s. What does that tell you? I think that's why I don't understand people like Snowden, you know, that going about all these security risks and stuff like that. What's he really telling us? That they're listening to our phone calls? We knew that in the 1950s. No whistleblower that I know gets that much public attention. So it's interesting times. It really is.
It certainly is.
It's interesting times.
How do you change the system? I've sometimes wondered if the politicians that we elect don't represent, how can we get that
See, I don't get into
changed?
that conversation because I believe they're selected, Tam, and no elected, right? That's my thoughts on the matter. I'm apolitical, I don't get involved in politics. It's politics. They're all in the same game. They're just all psychopaths that have floated to the top.
So how can we get that changed? Yeah?
I think...
How can the people collectively get that changed?
Aye, It's a big question on a lot of people's mind right now. And I think what we're seeing massive amounts of awareness. Look, they can't hide the figures anymore. They cannot hide the figures. I mean, they've done it with 5G. They've done it for years and years. They've had the figures. I mean, just take brain tumours, for example. We've got thousands and thousands of brain tumours diagnosed every year. The Office of National Statistics remove 40,000 off the register because it's in the endocrine glands. Now, this is the crazy excuses they come up with, right? This is the backwards thinking, right? It's in the brain, the endocrine glands are in the brain, but because the endocrine glands are neither grey nor white matter, they don't consider it brain. So you see how they kind of, you know, you make their own wee loopholes, and this is the problem. And that's how I think the legal cases are so important, especially with all the precedents that have been set recently. And there has been a lot of precedents set recently. I mean, we've got a man from, I think it's Australia, Raymond Broomhill. Now, he had hundreds of thousands of these small cells removed under criminal assault. because that's what that is, Tam. That's exactly what's happening. This is criminal assault. Now, going back to what you were talking about 2016, when Tom Wheeler said, you know, he was announcing 5G.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we will not wait for the standards.
That's right.
We will not wait for the standards. We're opening up the entire microwave spectrum. Now, when I heard that, I thought, whoa, because I know what that means, right? And he also said, but if anybody tells you what 5G is going to become, run the other way. I believe he resigned just recently after that speech.
I don't know what it is, but I just read yesterday that the 6G's coming up next.
I don't think we'll get to 6G. I'm not even going to entertain that. I mean, I've not even seen the millimetre waves yet. I know they're planning on using them. The spectrum's there. It's been opened. In fact, Ofcom gave that away for free, which is quite interesting. 60 gigahertz, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'll excite the oxygen molecule and I'll gas you. That's what I'll do with 60 gigahertz. So it's a bit, I don't know, I'm not buying into the terahertz range now. I mean, I think it's a bit of a misnomer. I think it's just another distraction. They know a day, but we'll wait and see how things unfold. I can't see us getting past, to be honest. I can't see us getting by the millimetre waves, never mind the terahertz. That's a whole other story.
But the bottom line then is that the technology, the vaccines and the masks,
it is a technology.
and the masts, right, come together.
Yes, that's right, that's right.
And both, or nearly everything today, affects human beings. Yeah. So what is the end game?
Depopulation.
Depopulation.
Again, depopulation.
Somebody said.
I mean, the World Economic Forum, that Klaus Schwab, they're telling you.
Somebody said that if the vaccines are successful, it could reduce the population by 10 or 15%. I just can't remember who it was.
Gates. It was Bill Gates, aye. Aye, the famous Dr. Gates. I've got more qualifications than Bill Gates.
So there you are. Thanks very much for coming.
Oh, no, my pleasure. My pleasure. Nice to speak to you, Tam. Lovely to meet you.